But Rita, it appears the Australian way is you send the Virgin airline out to see what the Chinese Navy are doing and you get them to radio it in. That's pretty much the Australian way now.
Well, he's cozying up to China. I mean, the messaging here is quite obvious. It's not just saying we can go it alone, because Albert doesn't believe we can go it alone. Our defence spending indicates that. But he's saying, essentially, China's our friend, and that speech was very closely watched in Washington, and insiders are saying it's being viewed very negatively by the Trump administration, understandably. And we need the US, we need the Trump administration. We've seen the NATO allies, after having their little tantrums, fall into line and do what Donald Trump has asked them to do, which is to be a little bit more self-sufficient in defending themselves by devoting more of their GDP spent on spending greater amount on defence, greater percentage of their GDP. And we've just been completely recalcitrant when it comes to that. And we're going to pay for it when he eventually sits down with Donald Trump and does a trade deal. Because at NATO, one of the things Donald Trump said that, again, Australian government should have taken note of was the NATO allies have fallen into line, but Spain hasn't. Yeah. So when we sit down with Spain, they're going to pay. They're still going to pay what they should have paid, because they will get a trade deal and tariffs that are greater than they otherwise would have, because of the attitude to defence spending. So what do you think is going to happen when Albo eventually sits down with the president? Do you think he's going to go, well, yeah, you've been calling me names, your ministers have been calling me names, your ambassador is an absolute train wreck, and you've just, completely treated with disdain calls to spend more on defence. Yeah, I'm going to give you a really advantageous trade deal. What do you think's going to happen? The fact that they haven't sat down with Australia yet, when we are one of the very few countries in the world that has a surplus with them, so they actually are, we're one of the very few. We should have been first in the door. We should have got the best deal. And we're still waiting for a one-on-one meeting. And
on top of that, Freya, we've also got, one of the worst attacks on free speech in the Western world underway with our e-safety commissioner and her attacks on America, and the way that we are basically at odds with America on every single thing. We have the real crime, if you like, here is that the Liberal Party, the opposition, should be now going, we need to be close to America. We have all the ties with Donald Trump. Peter Dutton was over there, the first person to go and sit in the White House when Donald Trump was elected. Except you weren't, were you? You were so stupid, Liberal Party, so moronic, so utterly bereft of any ability to look into the future, that you spent the election campaign dismissing our closest relationship with Trump. You could have used it, you could have had it, it was there for the taking, and you morons actually pushed it away, and now you got nothing. Freya, am I being too tough on the Liberal Party?
Well, I mean, I would say so. But definitely there are elements of truth in what you're saying. The media in Australia also has Trump derangement syndrome. The way the ABC covers Trump. If you're just an average Aussie, chances are the only messaging you're hearing about Trump is negative, 100%. Hysterical commentary from the left. And so I think definitely in the lead up to the election, that influenced the Liberal Party's thinking.
Yeah,
they were
cowardice. That's just cowardice, because the same messaging, the same Trump derangement syndrome exists in the UK when it comes to any reporting on US politics. And yet you got Nigel Farage not kowtowing to that. He's saying he's copying policies straight from the Trump playbook. He's not shying away with the alliance with Donald Trump. And he's winning. Yeah,
and you've got Keir Starmer, a hardcore lefty in the same elbow mould, who's
like
worked
Donald
out
Trump.
how to... He's straight off the Trump.
It's not necessarily about Trump or not. It's about standing on strength and actually having leadership.
But that is what we are lacking in this country, because our conservatives, our so-called conservatives, look at the media coverage, look at what the focus groups are doing, and they don't try to counter it. They don't say, well, obviously, we need to explain our position. We need to articulate these policies and why we believe in them, like they did with The Voice. They just go, this is too hard. We don't want a backlash. We're going to be Labor light. And every time a Conservative government, or opposition, I should say, is Labor light, they lose.
They lose. Yeah.
And I don't know why they keep going back to a losing strategy. Look at Victoria if you want to see what happens when you go down that road. You have absolutely nothing to take to the electorate, even when the government is a broken, backward, hard left, mess. They will still win because people will vote for a party that believes in something. And the Liberals at the moment, it's hard to understand what they actually believe in.
Well, I want to raise the question. We'll be talking to Billboard Chris shortly, who won a massive victory this week against the eSafety Commissioner, Freya. And this was simply on the grounds that the eSafety Commissioner tried to block Billboard Chris from his legitimate points of view about Australia's transgender representative going to the World Health Organization and the fitness or otherwise of that individual. Billboard Chris won that. So Australia is losing. The Liberal Party had the opportunity to oppose that, but they didn't. They went hard in and said, oh, yeah, we support this eSafety. In fact, they came up with the idea of the eSafety Commissioner.
And they still stand with it
so
to this day.
What's going to happen? Where is the opposition? Where's the fight? Well, I want to see... We're already 2 months into this ghastly government, and I haven't seen Susan Lee lay one finger on the government. That's not good enough for me.
Yeah, well, the eSafety Commissioner, originally the intention was to take down things like child pornography, exploitation material.
No one disagrees with that.
That we can all get behind.
But they're not doing that.
But that's the problem, right? With bureaucracies, you start by giving them one mandate and then things creep.
Well, I don't know.
And so now
Don't blame the bureaucrats, blame the politicians.
When you appoint a hard left activist from America whose political activism has been very evident and clear if you just care to look, when you appoint someone like that to the role, then you're shocked that the direction of the whole eSafety Commissioner's office goes somewhere you weren't expecting. But to this day, they have not stood against her. So I'm sorry, the Liberals don't get a pass here, because even if they were misguided in coming up with this concept and appointing her, she's given them plenty of reasons to say she's not fit for that role, and they refuse to do that.
And especially with the Bishop Murray stabbing, we remember that there was a takedown order for the entire globe.
For the world.
It's
another case she lost.
Exactly.
And how
Another
much
one she
taxpayer
lost.
money are we spending defending these cases?
Well, we're talking to Billboard Chris about that, but also just very quickly before we go to a break, just want to mention that the Cricket Australia again have shown that they are traitors to Australia, in my opinion. I would, if I were a cricket fan, which I'm not, I would not be going. I would not. Rita laughs because my sporting prowess is some humour to Rita. Cricket's the one with the bat and the ball, is it, or is that?
They run between them.
Seriously, they're not going to play games on Australia Day. This isn't out of respect for Australia Day. This is because it's Invasion Day. We're going to upset people. Cowards, aren't they, Freya?
Complete cowards, anti-Australian, and people are sick of this. We're sick of the cultural self-loathing. When will these organisations understand we actually love our country, want to stand tall and be proud?